bitch, you let me on my own. Ay, onto that dirty now.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Let's talk about NXT for November the 1st, 2022. This show was okay at best. It could have been better, but, there was a lot of bad stuff on the show. A lot of stuff didn't make sense, but it is what it is. Sometimes you'll have one of those shows, and last night was just one of those shows, I guess. We are going to talk about the NXT releases that took place on Monday. We're going to get into that real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and do the show. So, on Monday, like I said before, there were 5 people who got released, and there are going to be releases a lot more frequent if you can't be up to par within a 6-month time frame. And they are as follows. Salome Jacobs, she was recently in the Breakout Tournament earlier this year. Erica Yan, Ru Fang, Damaris Griffin, and shockingly, Brody Hayward of Chase University. So he was released. That's kind of shocking in my opinion. I thought he came along very nicely. He gets the business. He has a good look. Very charismatic. Really good on the mic. I'm just shocked that he was released. It doesn't make any sense. Hopefully he can come back in the next couple of years. Maybe go do some indie work or something like that or whatever for a little bit. Maybe go to Impact for a little while. MLW, GCW. Just go on the indies for a little bit. And then hopefully he can come back in the next few years. Since Triple H is back and, But I think everybody else will be fine. I don't know everyone else except for Salome Jacobs. She'll probably go back to the indies. Everyone else, I have no idea what they are going to do. But I wish everyone the best, and hopefully they're able to land safely on their feet. Let's get into the show. All right. So we kick the show off with Bron Breakker, and he's not able to even get a word in when he's interrupted by Pretty Deadly. So they taunt and mock Bron Breakker, and Bron mocks their accent, calls them wankers. So the champs, they go on taunting Bron, and they say their recent title defense was bigger than Bron's. So where's their glitzy parade? And thankfully, they're interrupted by Wesley. He says he can't stand this anymore, and he tells Pretty Deadly to shut up. So the fans, they pop. Wesley, he appreciates what Bron had to say about him, and then Pretty Deadly, they say that they don't appreciate Wesley, and they want to go back to talking about them. So Bron mocks them for coming in here for 3 hours. Wesley, for some odd reason, compliments their hair. And in a nutshell, this all leads to a tag team main event for the NXT Tag Team Championships, which is kind of a waste of time. And there was a lot of side plate checking in this, which was fucking awesome. So kudos for Pretty Deadly for doing that. They went overboard with that shit. So, yeah. But the NXT title scene looks awful. So, I'm going to fast forward, and we're going to go to the main event. So, Pretty Deadly versus Wesley and Bron Breakker. So, Carmelo Hayes, he gets involved, and he cost Bron and Wesley the tag titles. Wesley, he starts brawling with Carmelo, and they head to the back. And then Von Wagner, he big boots Bron. And then we pan backstage to Apollo Crews, who's watching this all unfold from the monitor. So he shakes his head, and then he's met by JD McDonagh. And so JD says that the vision that Apollo has of him being the man around here is pretty tough to see with a detached retina. And so JD says he'll see Apollo around. And so there's that. This makes no sense. So you mean to tell me that Carmelo is just good to be a mid-carder? Like, come on, man, what the fuck? Shawn Michaels, what are you doing? Von Wagner does not need to fucking be in that position. He doesn't even need to even be there, in my opinion. JD McDonagh has been beaten to death by Bron. So I'm over JD. He needs to go to the main roster. Like, he really does. And Apollo, we don't know how long he's going to stay in NXT. So we're kind of fucked in this situation. I guess what they're probably going to do is probably just do like a fatal 4-way within the next few weeks to set up Bron's opponent. So it'll probably be, like I said before, Carmelo Hayes, Von Wagner, JD McDonagh, and Apollo Crews. The winner of that faces Bron at NXT Deadline in December, and they need to go ahead and do that like ASAP because we don't have long. We only have like just a month to do that. So they need to get started on that like ASAP. They'll probably wait like a week. So it'll probably be like in 2 weeks. So I don't know. But Bron Breakker needs a feud. He doesn't need a match. He needs to feud with somebody. And so far, the list of choices, list of guys aren't doing it. You know, I'm over JD McDonagh. I do like him, but he's not the guy. Apollo, they have no idea what they're doing with him at all right now. And fuck Von Wagner. Like, seriously. So, I don't know. All right. So R-Truth, he came out during the Bron, Wesley, and Pretty Deadly segment. He came out. He had a match with Grayson Waller. It was short because Truth, for whatever reason, he wasn't thinking or whatever the fuck he was doing. He kind of done goofed. So he went out to do like a springboard something, and he didn't hit it. He fell. He missed the top rope, and he fell, and so he lost via referee stoppage. So I mean, I guess there's that, but Truth didn't need to do that at all. I don't know why he did it. I really don't. And I love R-Truth. I fucking love R-Truth, but that was not a smart decision on his part. And I wish him the best. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery, but he can't continue to do that. The man's 50. Like, he's 50 plus. I think he's like 51 or 52, if I'm not mistaken. So, post-match, Grayson Waller gets on the mic, and he says that he's not surprised because he's the most dominant superstar in all of WWE, and he's sick and tired of people sleeping on him. He says that he just beat a 20-year veteran on his own, and the fans chant, "You got lucky," and Waller says, yeah, he gets lucky every night of his life, and then Waller says NXT is all his, and that nothing's going to change that. So there's that. I like it. So let's continue on. This was the best segment of the night, that being the Big Joseph interview of Ava Raine joining Schism. So she gives her reason as to why she joined Schism. So she sits down with Vic Joseph, and so Ava says that nobody knew it was her. Everyone thought that they knew everything that she showed him. They know nothing. She says she's been with WWE her entire life, and nobody ever took time to get to know her until she met Joe and the rest of the crew. She says they're the only people who took the time to get to see the real her. She first came to NXT and suffered a devastating injury that required surgery, and the only person who called to check on her was Joe Gacy. She says she didn't hear anything from anyone who claims they've known her for years. Vic and Raine, they have some words, and she accuses him of things like everybody else, because he's assuming certain things. So Vic asks Gacy if he's loving the national attention, and Gacy says Vic is completely missing the point. Ava isn't here because she does something for the Schism. People have asked her for things her entire life. Everyone is asking her for things they don't... Hold on, my bad. They don't deserve, so they didn't earn. And then he says Ava's here because they accept her for who she truly is, and that's why she's here. So Fowler, he says more eyes are on them than ever before. He says they've dealt with ridicule from the NXT locker room and the greater community, with people comparing them to other groups from the past and present. But none of these groups ever wanted to achieve the togetherness that the Schism has. In fact, they want to offer their pins to Vic, and then Then Vic, he says, "No, I'm not interested." So Reed says the lack of acceptance is who they are. When you take the mask off, you can reveal your true self. It's too harsh for people but it's welcome within the Schism. He says they're not responsible for your unforgivable actions. So then Vic, he brings up Cameron Grimes, and he reads out the tweet, and he basically said that the Schism's brainwashed Ava. So Ava says, first of all, she didn't allow anyone to brainwash her. How dare you? She saw what Grimes could never see, and that is together the Schism can do so much more than she could as an individual. She goes on and says Grimes didn't beat the Schism. He paid the club to win a match for him. Ava says you can't just reject the Schism and walk away. And then she says they're committed to making an example out of Grimes, and that they're going to follow through on that commitment. She says next week, Grimes versus Gacy for the final time will go down. And then Joe Gacy says the Schism is strong together because they're four roots, one tree together. Damn. Really good shit. I'm digging it. I love it. I really do love this shit. I love the cultish aspects of this shit. And it's interesting to see where this goes. It really is. Let me get a drink of water real quick. A drink of my Gatorade real quick, and we can get right back on it. Alright, I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm back. So, let's continue on with the show. Let's see. Okay. So, Javier Bernal, he's backstage. And he says that, he's backstage and he's talking to Idris Enife and Malik Blade. So they're outside of the office of Shawn Michaels. And Javi says they gave it all in last week's house shot, but they're not championship material. He tells them, don't waste time with Mr. Michaels, just watch my match tonight. And they can't believe that he has a match. They laugh at the idea, as they apparently knew something. So, that Bernard doesn't. Javi says he texted Michaels to get a match, and Michaels told him to meet him outside his office. Out of nowhere, Odyssey Jones, he appears, and he reveals that he's going to be facing Javier tonight. And so Blade and Ina Fey, they laugh as Joan walks off with him. So that's pretty cool. I like this. Hopefully there can be something that comes out of this. Hopefully we can get like a little trio formed of Ina Fey, Blade, and Odyssey Jones. I think that would do really cool. Kind of have like a really cool, mature version of the New Day. That's kind of like what I'm hoping for. So, we didn't have the match, and Odyssey Jones wins, and that was that. So, we have Andre Chase. He's backstage trying to get Thea Hale riled up for a match. She says something's this doesn't feel right. Then they easily camera shot the jersey of Brody hanging up, and then they boo because they know that he was released. And then Hale asked who's going to carry the flag tonight. Duke Hudson, he appears through a wall, and he's pumped up to carry the flag. So, Thea Hale versus Kiana James. So, towards the end of the match, Duke Hudson gets Thea Hale's foot on the rope, and then Andre Chase gets involved and says, "No, this is not how we do things over here. This is not how we do. Take your ass to the back." And it seems like the two were about to go at it. So he walks off, that being Duke Hudson, and Kiana James, she takes advantage and she wins. So Andre's checking up on Thea Hale. Out of nowhere, Charlie Dempsey, he hits the ring. He attempts to choke out Chase until Duke makes the save. And then Dempsey, he dips out, and Duke helps Chase to his feet. And then he also helps Hale up. And then Thea Hale, she had to take his hand, but then she does. And this is, I guess, interesting, I guess. It's going to be hard shoes to fill. I'm not opposed to Duke Hudson being a face. I'm not. I think this is kind of cool. It's interesting to see where this all leads and where this all goes to. So, yeah. Where I talked about the Bron situation. Oh, yeah. So, Bron and Wesley, they're back in the locker room, chilling, get ready for their match. So, Robert Stone, he walks up and tells Bron to enjoy his building his title tonight, because when he does, Von Wagner is going to happily take the NXT title off his shoulders. Bron tells Stone to tell Von to see him face to face next time instead of sending his errand boy. Bron tells Stone to get the hell out of here before he puts his head through the locker. And then Stone laughs and he dips out. So, Toxic Attraction, they're out next. So, we have a white apron cover. There's a red rug, a white couch, a black table with large photos of Mandy and the crew. So JC James, she gets on the mic and says that everyone needs to bow for greatness. She praises Rose's reign as champion, and she's absolutely untouchable. Jane also says that the fans mocked and underestimated Rose and didn't believe in her. But she's proven time and time again that she's superior to every person in the locker room, man or woman. And then Jane says Mandy is the absolute measuring stick of the NXT Women's Division. She's fought legends and underdogs. She's unified the NXT Women's titles, and she's helped make Toxic Attraction the most decorated female faction in NXT history. Jane says, in all of Rose's honor and greatness, they put together this little video package. So they show us a really cool video package of Mandy Rose first turning to NXT when she wore a hood earlier this year. And so that was really cool. I dug it. And they showed her accomplishments and what she's done in the last year. Then she gets on the mic. And then Rose says she thanks everyone and says, not a bad piece of eye candy, because that's all she was to the fans for 4 years. She was a peach, a Barbie doll, blonde, a Barbie doll bottled blonde made in the lab, a centerfold bitch, she says. And then Rose says that's why 2 years ago she realized she needed to bet on herself, and she made the decision to come to NXT and rebuild herself. And it was the greatest decision she's ever made her entire life. Rose says with the help of her girls, Gigi and JC, Toxic has risen to the top because numbers don't lie, ratings don't lie, merchandise sales don't lie, and she says people like you, she couldn't have held the title because it represents the greatest women's wrestlers in the entire world. She says she's proven to every single one of you over the years, for over a year now. She goes on about stepping on every single woman and way to the top while wearing red bottoms, making it look good. She says it feels damn good to have sat on her rightful throne for a year now, and she can guarantee no one is kicking her off of it. She says if you got a problem with that, you know where to find her. She works on Tuesdays. Out of nowhere, we get this awful smoke bomb. Alba Fyre appears. She beats down Gigi Dolin, and she does a gory bomb through the table, and she's staring the hole through Mandy Rose and JC Jane. She gets on the mic and says that she's going to take out, Alba Fyre gets on the mic, says that she took out Dolin this week. Next week she's going to take out JC Jane, and then in 2 weeks' time she's going to take out Mandy Rose. So I don't like this at all. I think this is stupid. It really is, because we don't need this. We really don't. We could have put Nikita Lyons in the spot. We could have put possibly, I don't know, maybe Roxanne Perez in the spot. There's a lot of women you could have put in the spot. Those two women come to mind off the top of my head. But we didn't need this. We really didn't. I don't know. I really don't. Let's move on. So Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Apollo Crews. Talks about Bron Breakker. Says that he wants to match, but he's not sure if Bron does. Apollo says he's a problem for everyone in the locker room, including Bron. He came back to NXT, looked at Bron in the eye, and said he was coming for the title, but since then his name hasn't been spoken one time by Bron. He understands Bron is champion, and he has the right to chase a champion, but Bron is a fighting champion, and he didn't expect to put on his running shoes to get to him. Von Wagner, he pulls up. He laughs at Crews, saying he's a funny guy. Von says Crews is a matchup problem for Bron. Bron is a straight up problem, period. And then Vaughn tells Apollo not to waste his time. He knows Apollo likes to look in the future, but when it comes to NXT title, Vaughn says he's the future. Bunch of bullshit. Like, it really is. Can't stand fucking Von Wagner. Indy Hartwell versus Zoe Stark. So there was an altercation earlier on in the night. They came to, they had some words, and which led to the match, which was kind of cool. Indy Hartwell gets her second win. I'm loving the kind of push that they're giving Indy here. So it seems like they are going to turn Zoe Stark heel next week. So I'm guessing, we're probably gonna have Stark's turn on Nikita Lyons, which actually kind of makes sense. It all depends on how they do it. So we get a vignette for Donovan Dijak, which is now he's going by. That's what his name was in Ring of Honor. Who gives a fuck? So he's still burning his mask. So he's writing on a pad, and he says, "Justice, authority, and NXT." He says his eyes are no longer shielded, his business is unfinished, and a new order of high justice is upon NXT. This is not about any frustration. It's about his justice and his authority. Who gives a fuck? I kind of wish that Donovan Dijakovic would have gotten released. Seriously. Like, what does he bring to the table? Not a motherfucking thing. Not a thing. So, Sangha, he was backstage with Valentina Perez. So, Lindy Chu, she's listening to them in the background. Perez asked what's wrong with Sangha. She didn't understand what's going on. She asked if he will be in her corner tonight. Sangha says she's very strong. And then Veer, he appears, gets a nice little pop. Sangha finishes his sentence and says he's very sorry, but he cannot go out with Perez. She says she understands. Then he looks at Veer. He smirks, and then she walks off. So Veer says in NXT, they take Sangha's kindness for weakness. Veer asks if they've honored Sangha. Exactly, that's why Veer is here. And so they walk out. They walk off together. So I'm kind of digging this a little bit. We'll get more of the story next week. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to appear again when the Creeds are back. Moving on. The Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark, they're backstage. So Stark, she apologizes. She says that she's been in her head, letting things get the best of her. She apologizes and says her head will be in the game for the title shot next week. Lyons says it's all good. She's got Stark's back. And then Stark thanks her. And then Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, they walk up. The two teams have some words, and the champs talk to challengers, then walk off. So Starks wants to follow and fight, but Nikita holds her back. So, there's that. Then we get Valentina Perez versus Cora Jade. So Cora Jade wins via DDT. Post-match, she attempts to beat down Perez with the kendo stick, but Wendy Chu makes the save, and she lightly taps Cora Jade. So, this is okay, I guess. But, the feud between Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade is not over with. I feel like this is just like a little mini feud until that feud comes to pass and it's fully over. It'll probably be fully overcome NXT deadline, which is what they're probably going to do anyway. Tony D'Angelo and Stax, they're backstage. So Tony is proud of Stax for handling some business, saying that it's like seeing his son take his first step. He loves it. So Stax is back to business, but he's got to face Hank Walker next week. I don't like that because I'm pretty sure Get the Fuck Off My TV, Quincy Elliott is probably going to make an appearance. I don't know what they're going to do, but it seems like they're going to do some really weird and bizarre and crazy shit involving Quincy Elliott and Hank Walker. I guarantee you that. So Stax calls it easy money. He says he's going to take care of Hank. Tony's confident that Stax will win. And then out of nowhere, Alexa Lopez, she walks in. Tony says she decided to finally go on her own. Lopez says it feels good to be her own boss. And Tony knows something about that. So Lopez says if she was so dangerous before, watch how dangerous she is now. She walks off. And then so Stax isn't sure about if Alexa Lopez will be as dangerous on her own, but Tony says she will. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Hopefully she doesn't stay in NXT too long. Hopefully she can go back on the main roster and join the rest of Legado del Fantasma along with Zelina Vega. I'm open and interested in to see what they do with this, but it's going to be hard to follow a Legado del Fantasma. It really is going to be hard to follow that. Let's see, what else did I miss? Did I miss anything else?
Everybody has their heroine, trying to find